Why does a candle need 3 wicks? The Gospel according to Mark chapter 6. And he went out from thence and came into his own country, and his disciples follow him. And when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many hearing him were astonished, saying, From whence hath this man these things? And what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works are wrought by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joses, and of Judah, and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. I don't know about that lie. I didn't hear anything about that. That's just a lie. What sisters of his? That's just a lie. Okay, I'm going to have to keep just reading because this is long. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, but in his own country, and among his own kin, and in his own house. And he could there do no mighty work, save that he laid his hands upon a few sick folk and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief. And he went round about the villages teaching. And he called unto him the 12, and began to send them forth 2 by 2. He began to send them forth by 2 and 2, and gave them power over unclean spirits. And commanded them that they should take nothing for their journey, save a staff only, no scrip, no bread, no money in their purse, but be shod with sandals, and not put on 2 coats. And he said unto them, In what place soever ye enter into an house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you nor hear you, when ye depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet, for a testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Oh, is he talking about Jerusalem? He said he went to his own city. Is that Nazareth? It says, came into his own country. Yes, he was in Nazareth or Jerusalem, and nobody wanted to hear him. And he's like, you know what? Sodom and Gomorrah is better off than you. We've heard that in the Old Testament about, well, I'll have to look back on that, but he was really mad at that point. He said, you're worse off than that. I don't think it's, Matthew may have said that too, but it's not just Matthew. I don't think. I better look. And they went out and preached that men should repent, and they cast out many devils and anointed with oil many that were sick and healed them. And King Herod heard of him, for his name was spread abroad. Great. And he said that John the Baptist was risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Wow. He's kind of just jumping his own conclusion. It's like kind of a... Others said that is that it is Elias. And others said, that is a prophet, or as one of the prophets. But when Herod heard thereof, he said, it is John, whom I beheaded. Herod. Herod beheaded him. I was thinking the other day, who was that? Because he got his wife, and the daughter said, he said, I'll do anything you want. And she goes, put his head on a platter. He is risen from the dead. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. Man, Herod married Philip's wife? Man, why? For John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Who's this Philip? Oh, his brother. He married his own brother. Herod had a brother named Philip. I didn't know that. I'm not sure that's true. Am I understanding this right? Herod. His brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Herod has a brother named Philip. That's weird. Isn't that weird? For John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Actually, if he died, it would be okay. But I guess he's not dead. Therefore, Herodias had a quarrel against him. And would have killed him, but she could not. Oh, Herodias is a lady? I don't know who this is either. There's all kinds of people in here all of a sudden. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just man and holy, and observed him. And when he heard him, he did many things and heard him gladly. Oh, this is the story. And when a covenant day was come, that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains, and chief estates of Galilee. And when the daughter of the said Herodias came in, Herodias, I guess that's his wife. Oh no, it's the daughter. The daughter's name is Herodias. And when the daughter of the said Herodias came in, no, the mother's name must be Herodias, and danced and pleased Herod, and them that sat with him, the king said unto the damsel, ask of me whatsoever thou wilt, and I will give it thee. And he sware unto her, whatsoever thou shalt ask of me, I will give it thee unto the half of my kingdom. Boy, she should have asked for that. What a fool she is. Asking for John the Baptist's head. What a fool. And he sware unto her, whatsoever thou shalt ask of me, I will give it thee unto the half of my kingdom. And she went forth and said unto her mother, what shall I ask? And she said, the head of John the Baptist. Man. And she came in straightway with haste unto the king and asked, saying, I will that thou give me by and by in a charger the head of John the Baptist. And the king was exceeding sorry, yet for his oath's sake, and for their sakes which sat with him, he would not reject her. And immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought, and he went and beheaded him in the prison. And he brought his head in a charger and gave it to the damsel, and the damsel gave it to her mother. And when his disciples heard of it, they came and took up his corpse and laid it in a tomb. And the apostles gathered themselves together unto Jesus and told him all things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said unto them, Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. Wow, they didn't have time to eat. That's a lot of work. And they departed into a desert place by ship privately. And the people saw them departing, and many knew him, and ran afoot thither out of all cities. And out went them, and came together unto him. And Jesus, when he came out, saw much people, and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when the day was now far spent, his disciples came unto him and said, This is a desert place, and now the time is far past. Send them away, that they may go into the country round about, and into the villages, and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. He answered and said unto them, Give ye them to eat. And they said unto him, Shall we go and buy 200 pennyworth of bread, and give them to eat? He said unto them, How many loaves have ye? Go and see. And when they knew, they say 5 and 2 fishes. And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, he looked up to heaven, and blessed and brake the loaves, and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fishes divided he among them all. And they did all eat, and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments and of the fishes. And they that did eat of the loaves were about 5,000 men. So 5,000 men ate from 5 pieces of bread. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get into the ship and go to the other side before unto Bethsaida. Doesn't that, we just looked that up, right? Doesn't that mean mercy seat? Like Bethesda, Maryland, Bethsaida. Oh, isn't this the place? Yeah, this is one of them. This is one of them that it says you're going to be worse off than Sodom and Gomorrah. This is one of them. There's 2 others. While he sent away the people, and when he had sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray. And when even was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land. And he saw them toiling in rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the 4th watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed by them. But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit, and cried out. For they all saw him, and were troubled. And immediately he talked with them, and saith unto them, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And he went up unto them into the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered. For they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. Who are these people? Isn't the apostle sitting there? Yeah, it's the same story in Matthew, right? And isn't Peter going to start trying to walk? It's the apostles. But see how he's talking to them. He said, For they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. Is he talking about his apostles? Is that how quickly, if we were to see a miracle like that, we'd just be like, okay, and then we go on the water, and it'd be like a huge storm, and then that faith is completely evaporated? I think that's the point, maybe. Let's see. And when they had passed over, they came into the land of Gennesaret and drew to the shore. And when they were come out of the ship, straightway they knew him, and ran through that whole region round about, and began to carry about in beds those that were sick, where they heard he was. I'm worried about this verse 52. For they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. Who? I think it's the people. I don't think it's the apostles. It's the rest of the people in the ships out there, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of disturbing. It's not disturbing. It's just, I don't know who it is. And whithersoever he entered into villages or cities or country, they laid the sick in the streets and besought him that they might touch, if it were but the border of his garment. That's right, because they all heard now, at this point, about the lady. Right? And as many as touched him were made whole. The end. Let me try to look back in Matthew. About these loaves of bread. I think the reason they were out there is because there was too many people on the shore, and they were all coming, the multitudes, they were all coming after him, and there was really nowhere for him to stand and speak. Like, he would have gotten like crushed, and that was the best place for him, was in the water while everybody was on the shore. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, so when he left, who... I mean, I don't think he's the only ship out there. There were other ships out there listening. And I think this is referring to the other ships who were out there and their hearts were hard and they did not come to shore. I'm not sure. Here it is. Here it is. It's 14, Matthew 14. And they say to him, we have but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, bring them hither to me. Dun, 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 dun. 12 baskets. 5,000 men. He sent the multitudes away. And when they had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. Yeah, it's the disciples. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? So, that's 14. That's Matthew 14. I don't know, this just struck me as being very sharp. when it says, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. Right? That's like, whoa, when you hear that, to me, that's like, when people say, watch out, when it says, woe, or what's that other one? Sometimes it says, behold, woe. This is, when it starts talking about hardened hearts, right? Like that first Ramses Pharaoh, right? Or is it this one? It's Herod. No, it was Ramses with the Egypt and the 10 plagues, right? So when it starts talking about hardened hearts, you have to, my ears are like, what? Whoa, slow down. But this is very serious because it's starting, you find out from Mark that, and this is Mark writing it, right? For they considered, I guess, right? For they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. He's talking about the 12 disciples. That is scary. It shows how quick, look. So what does that mean? So Jesus could appear right now in front of us and be like, boom, yeah, check it out, miracle. And then later on, right, we go outside, we're at, walking around in the park, and all of a sudden, there's just something bad happens. There's a big wind or a big storm, and instead of just realizing, oh wow, and building on that thing that happened earlier, you'd be like, oh no, he's not here. We're not going to be able to handle it. We're hardened. We're useless. We can't do anything. We need that guy here. I don't know why I would say this, but that's kind of scary to me. Why does it say that? For their heart was hardened. The disciples' hearts were hardened. For what? Just for one instance of being worried because there's rain. I don't think you're allowed to worry and be Jesus-like. That's what it's saying. You can't even you're not supposed to have any fear. That's what he's correlating it to. No fear. Because why else would he say their hearts are hardened? That is frightening, isn't it? It's not normal. Like, Mark is describing the disciples like Herod. I mean, like Ramses. That Exodus Pharaoh. Now we got this other one, Herod, and his wife. I guess her name is Herodias, and they just chopping off John the Baptist's head. And you know what? They must have really respected their ladies over there, because it wasn't just an oath, right? But he could have said, "Oh, who cares what you think," right? But the problem is, he's saying he respected John the Baptist. In fact, he liked him. In fact, he liked listening to him. But he made an oath because of the ladies. And yeah, so he just chopped off his head. There's something going on with those Egyptians. Talk about equal rights. Something's going on about that. But the main person in this Bible that we know whose heart was hardened over and over and over, who is it? Ramses, right? Why are we hearing that these disciples, just because they fed 5,000 people, and now the weather is getting bad later on in the night, and they're just not happy about it. They're kind of scared. Now they're being called hard-headed. Hard-hearted? I don't understand that. What did they do? That's kind of confusing.